Hello, hello, my friends. Here we are, another week, and here we are again with Spiritism, a closer look. You are on Kardec Radio. I'm Luiz Lima, your host for tonight. And tonight we are going to talk about social loss. In the current state of affairs throughout the world, I would say, there's been a lot of debates about laws and things that we as a society in general, we as humanity, things that we want to change, laws that we need to, remove, some others that we need to add. So we are going to take a closer look into the subject from, of course, the Spiritist point of view. Uh, One interesting thing is how can we even define what a social law is, which is what we're going to address here. I would say, in simple words, essentially, social laws are disciplinary laws. Disciplinary laws. They are created within a society or a group, could be a smaller group, could be a country, could be a state, a province, whatever it is. But they are created within a society to influence the behavior of its members, hopefully for better, right? To influence, not in the bad sense, to influence in the sense of educating the members of the society in order to support its moral values. When a group is created, a country, a county, whatever it is, there are moral laws, moral values, moral values that get attached to that at usually at the time of creation. They can change, but usually at the time of creation. And those are the moral values that that society is going to go by. So in order to guarantee that all the members or all the participants, whatever it is, are going to follow or are going to be to attach themselves to those moral values, we create disciplinary laws. Moses did that. Moses came down from Mount Sinai and he had the 10 Commandments in his hands. He brought the tablet, he shows the 10 Commandments, and people just don't like it. They don't like it. They were people doing almost barbarian state, killing other people, just killing each other and no respect whatsoever. So he brings the 10 Commandments in order to, which is the set of moral values, basic moral values. In order to address that, he had to create a lot of disciplinary laws, 613 disciplinary laws. So that became the social law of those Hebrews, those Jewish people at the time. Right? So the idea is to influence its members, its participants, so they comply with and they go by the moral values. So the law actually has, I would say, two layers. One layer is it points to the wrongdoings of the individuals, possible wrongdoings. And second, it includes the consequences of doing that. So, for example, if you steal something, this is your penalty. If you kill somebody, that's your penalty. So usually most of these laws, they have two layers. The first layer pinpoints a wrongdoing. The second layer addresses it based on its consequence. These laws, social laws, are subject to time and place. Laws that we had in the past, long time ago, don't make sense anymore. For example, in places that we do not even exist anymore, 1,000 years ago, these laws don't exist anymore. So they are subject to time and place. They change. They might be different according to the times and the places. For example, I just gave you an example. Moses, here's a disciplinary law that he attached to the 10 Commandments, an eye for an eye. It had to be a serious law. It was written down so the people would, abide to it, comply. Today, it's not really I don't think that, I'm not sure, but I don't think there's any constitution or any major primary law of any country that addresses that. Because, at least in the Western society, it's no longer necessary. So that it had its time and its place, not anymore. For example, here's another one: women's rights. Yeah? If you go back in time, say 100 years ago, women had no rights, basically. We are still going through the process. So, in our laws, in the Western civilization, we still have a lot of articles, a lot of different smaller laws addressing women's right because it's not yet resolved. If we decide tomorrow morning to, just take out all these laws, they are no longer valid, it's going to be a disaster because we're going to go back to the early 1900s. So you see, there's going to be a time, hopefully soon. So let's just throw a number here. It's just the concept. Let's say in another 50 years, we don't need that anymore. Because in 50 years, that's not going to make any sense anymore. We can just wipe it out from any law, constitution, and so. So you see, these laws, disciplinary laws, social laws, they attach themselves. They attach themselves to a time and place. Societies are different. So this also varies from society to society. Society evolves and things change. The other day, I was just watching this movie, which I thought was very interesting for me personally. It's called Being the Ricardos with Nicole Kidman. It's a story, the real story of uh, Ball, Lucille Ball, and Desi Arnaz. And it's incredible because there's a lot of struggle. There's one scene, it is a lot of struggle from the executives in the networks and the artists and the people because they had to say the word pregnancy in 1960 or so in national television on prime time. That's not too long ago. And the movie shows that in a beautiful way. I mean, you really grasp the meaning of the size of the problem. That doesn't make sense anymore today. And we're not too far from it. So society evolves, things change. So some of these laws are no longer necessary because the society evolved and it got past that point. It got past that issue. So we don't need them anymore. So why do we need social laws? Why do we need disciplinary laws? Well, there are things to consider here. First of all, life is a natural law. If you go to the top of the mountain to live by yourself or to a desert island, it doesn't make any sense because for that, first of all, you don't even need your five senses. Your voice, you're going to talk to who, right? So it doesn't make any sense because life in society is what keeps us going. Having a relationship with the environment or other people, it's what makes us, get better, develop more abilities to get better. And we are kind of forced to improve our abilities to deal with the situations and other people. And that means, it's a way of getting through to perfection. So the overall goal of societal life is to complete one another, I would say, just to complete one another. And that's make us all to grow up spiritually and get on our path towards perfection. So God provides these opportunities for societal life, and there's no favoritism. There's an equality of opportunities, which is different. Let me just say this: equality of opportunities that comes from God is not the same thing of equality of lifestyle or equality in social position you have in the society. These depend on the abilities of the spirits. We all have the same opportunities. the outcome for each one of us is different because our abilities is different. Our uh, uh, spiritual history is different. Our past took us here through one path, but it took somebody else through another path. So the results, the outcome is different, but the opportunity is the same for all. Some are born poor and become very, very wealthy, right? And others are, they inherit a fortune, but they lose everything in a short period of time because it has to do with the ability. It's the spirit that makes it happen, not wealth itself. It is the spirit, the abilities that the spirit has. And that's the idea behind societal life, to develop abilities, to be better, to get better. So the wealthy ones are given the opportunity to help the less fortunate. Not necessarily they do, but that's the overall idea behind it. So wealth is a trial, so is poverty. To be perfect, to get to perfection, we have to go through every possibility. We have to have been to when we get to perfection, we would have been rich and poor, on male body, female body, leader and subordinate, and it goes on and on and on. We have to have experimented and experienced all possibilities. There's a phrase in the Spirits book. It's actually a comment made by Allan Kardec in response to question 824, and this is what it says. So he's talking a little bit about material life. We only consider material life. We're very centered on material life. So he says, the grave is the place of meeting for all humankind. The grave is the place of meeting for all humankind. All human distinctions are mercilessly ended there. It's very interesting. So, in order to start discussing these social laws, I'm going to put something on the screen here that we can, and I'm going to leave it on the screen so we can follow. It's called the Spiritist hierarchy. This is created by Allan Kardec under the guidance of the spirits, where he actually questions the spirits. He says, I think it would be easier if I can classify, if I can group the spirits in different levels, because some are all the way up advanced, some others are down here. So he proposes that to the spirits, and the spirit says, you do what you want. You use the names and the number of groups that you want, as long as the teachings are preserved. So he creates what is called the Spiritist hierarchy. You see here on your screen. The bottom one, impure, are the less advanced ones. The top, pure, are the most advanced ones. The pure ones don't even have to incarnate anymore. That's the case of Jesus. And the scale goes from, I use colors from red to green, because red usually symbolizes something, pay attention, right? Something like that. A red flag, for example. And the green ones are, you got the green light. So that's why I use those colors. But you see that there's 10 groups in here. The thing is, we have people in our society, wherever it is, here in the US or any other country, in each society, you have people who are down at the bottom of the scale, let's say frivolous, and others that are, let's say, wise. But you see, while they are incarnated, they are living on the same space. They are sharing the same space. That becomes very complicated. And that's the challenge. That's a challenge. So these people, when you look at the scale here, they have different abilities, but they're sharing the same space. So the law, the social law, kind of allows spirits, if used correctly, okay, it kind of allowed the spirits of different degrees of evolution to participate in the same society. I mean, nothing is perfect in terms of social laws. We all have our problems, and two of the problems we saw, right? Not problems, I'm going to say, but two of the characteristics. One is they are subject to time, they're subject to place. But there's a third thing that we need to pay attention to. Who is writing these laws, these social laws? Because these are not divine laws, these are not written by God. Who is writing them? Who is putting this on paper and validating, and the whole country or the whole state or the whole society agrees upon? They are written by humans like you and me. And because they are written by humans, they automatically contain personal views in their core. That is why it is so complicated, and we see this every day in our news here. It is so complicated to pass a new law, for example, because some people are pros, they want to go for it, they are for it, some others are against, because there are people in different levels of evolution sharing the same space, the same society. They are all participating. It becomes very complicated. Sometimes, it is so complicated that a certain law is passed, and those who are not in favor of it, they react badly. There's revolts, and we had the civil wars, and you go back in history, any place, any country, it doesn't matter, you're going to find a lot of these things. Some laws got passed, and those who did not agree decided to kind of, if you will, take action against the law. So the level of evolution of those who write the laws makes all the difference. And because we change and the people writing the laws change, that's us, right? The laws will change. There's going to be a point where, like I said, an eye for an eye doesn't make sense anymore. And so, and so, and so. So when we look back in history to see, or to try to understand how we got into the mess that we are today, when I mean mess, I mean confusion about all these laws and people not willing to comply to some, and there are complaints of everything, and some laws, some people think it's just dead wrong, and some others think it's correct and it should be that way. All of this is what I call the confusion. Well, this goes back a long, long, long time ago. Just follow me here on my analysis. Go back to Moses. We keep coming back to him, right? All right, go back to Moses. Moses brings a set of 10 laws, divine laws, immutable laws. They are valid anytime, any day, anywhere. The purpose of those laws is to establish moral values. So I'll just pick one. Don't kill. That's an easy one. Don't kill. It's because there's a moral value. It's protecting the moral value. You got to preserve life. You can't kill people just like that. Now think about this. If you can, follow what I'm saying. The day he brought this down and he showed to the people, or he presented to the people, listen, as of today, you cannot kill. 2,000 years ago, not 4,000 years ago, right? The thing was different. Because if you're talking to somebody, you get into an argument, the argument gets heated. The easiest thing to do is to get your sword, run through that person's body, kill him, and go away. And just, argue with somebody else. Somebody else is going to be doing the same thing to you. It was natural, unfortunately, but it had its time. It was that way. So people would just say, listen here, Mr. Moses, until yesterday I could kill. How come I can't kill anymore? You see, it's a radical change for those people at the time. So Moses had to attach a huge set of disciplinary laws to support the moral values on the tablet, the 10 Commandments. So he wrote 613 disciplinary laws that I'm calling social laws here. So the society would continue to function under the new laws. And it takes a very, very, very long time. It takes generation after generation after generation for people to start complying. And we still don't do this to this day completely because it's so complicated. But the law is there. The social laws enforce it. For example, in certain countries, let's just put an example here. Let's say that we have the following social law today. If you kill, you're going to go to jail. It might be different in other places. It might be different in other countries because it depends on time and place. But there's a social law attached to supporting that moral value, preserving life. So now, when I go into an argument with somebody and the thing starts to get heated, in the past I would take my sword and run through their body. First of all, we don't have a sword anymore, but we have other weapons. We could still hurt the person badly to the point that we could kill them. But now we go like, hey, hold on. There's a disciplinary law. If I do this, I'm going to go to jail, for example. So I kind of change my behavior. It makes me, the law influences my behavior, hopefully to the point that I don't commit transgression against the law, the moral value. So now I'm going to think about this better before I do anything else. Now, here is the problem. Time goes by. And then, let's just say, following the example here, that I am a very powerful person, very influential person in our society, maybe somebody, with a heavy load of influence on every person in our society. And I kill somebody. And I'm so influential that I'm going to propose an amendment to the current social law. The current social law is don't kill. If you kill, you're going to go to jail. By the way, don't kill is divine law. If you kill, you're going to go to jail, social law. So I look at this and I said, I'm going to propose an amendment. I want this to be, don't kill. If you kill, you go to jail. But if it's your first crime, you're forgiven. Nothing happens to you. And it is like this in certain countries. So what happens now? Instead of supporting the moral values, it opens up an avenue for me to kill one person at least. It's guaranteed that I'm not going to go to jail. When I kill the second, that's a whole different story. But it's guaranteed that I can kill one person and never go to jail. With the new law that I proposed, and because I'm so influential, it got passed, and now it's the law. So what happens is the social laws do no longer support moral values. They support behavior. So you see, the thing is coming backwards. With a social law that supports behavior, the general impression of the society is that we have adapted moral values. We have kind of new moral values, but they are fake moral values. So, in summary, in the past, we had moral values up here, right? Moral values up here, bringing social laws, bringing behavior. Now we have behavior creating social laws, creating fake moral values. And that's absolutely awful. But that's how we got into the mess that we got almost everywhere in the world. Because our laws, our disciplinary laws, started to support behavior, not moral values. So you see how everything got twisted. Everything got twisted. And it's very difficult to go back. There's going to be a lot of, it's going to take a lot of reflection from each one of us to understand what's going on, that behavior cannot generate laws. Behavior has to be a consequence of existing laws. So we are going against the laws of God instead of following the laws of God, where moral values get addressed with social laws and behavior. No, we're going the other way around. Behavior creates social laws that creates fake moral values, unfortunately. And that's where we are. That's where we are. So all of our imperfections are, all of us, absolutely all of us, especially those who write the laws. Those who write the laws, some of those people writing the laws, they need to be much more morally educated. And that's not criticism, that's part of it. You see, if you go back to this Spiritist hierarchy that I put here on the screen for you, if you have somebody, let's just say, somebody who is in the pseudo learned category, they are down on the scale. If these people get elected to write laws, what kind of laws are they going to write? It wouldn't be the same as if you have a wise person writing the laws. So it complicates things. It complicates things. And it makes us think about all of this profoundly. We need to be aware of what's going on. Spiritism brings all of this that I'm saying here is a Spiritist view on the subject. We got to look from above. We got to look as if we were not frivolous, not pseudo learned, but as if we were right now learned, wise, high order. We have been given the general direction, which are the moral reference, the absolute moral reference brought to us by Jesus. We have it, we know it. I'm not saying it's easy to follow. I'm saying we know it, we have it. So we can start using that more in our favor and in favor of our society as a whole. Because right now, all of our systems are, imploding. When I say system is politics, economy, technology, ecology, education, healthcare, sports, it looks like they are all imploding because each one of these systems has its own set of laws. The laws that, for economy are only for economy. They have their own set of laws. For politics, same thing. For ecology, the same thing. For education, the same thing. Now, all these laws are disciplinary and they change with time. And there's confusion. Why? Because the society is evolving. And as society evolves, there is a necessity to change, adapt these laws for better. So society can, follow the path towards a better place, towards perfection. My friends, thank you so much for joining us today. That was our talk today, our briefly idea based on especially the Spirit's book, on social laws. We will be here next week. So thanks so much.